In order to understand how the first societies used art to order their world, let's begin by taking a look at the clothing for the Neolithic era. Neolithic cultures wore a variety of handmade cloaks, shoes, and head coverings. Their clothes played a significant role for their survival and helped them combat nature, as it was a daily task to hunt and salvage. During the Neolithic era, a majority of the population settled in inactive farming communities, which led to advances in materials, tools, and resources. This allowed for improved quality of clothing to be made, as well as help people establish resources on a larger scale.
Before the Neolithic era, people from the Paleolithic period would wear primal fur of animals or roam around naked. At the time, Paleolithic men would chew the skins of animals to make them more flexible and easier to use, or they would smoke the fur, making it more malleable. By wearing comfortable clothing, it made it easier for men to move around when hunting. It is fascinating to see how Neanderthals wore heavy clothes made of animal skins and how Homo sapiens made flexible clothes, which makes us wonder if that's the reason why the Neanderthal didn't live as long.
Due to agricultural changes, farmers began trading their harvests of seeds, cotton, wool, and goat hair for specific services like weaving, and this made fabrics freely available. During this time, men and families would hunt while women had more time to develop skills of their own, such as weaving. Specialized weavers made clothing with stitched designs, decorated fabrics, and frayed skins. This then led people to care more about their appearance and accessorize their clothes with jewelry and face paint.
Clothing and accessories in the Neolithic period were made using a variety of interesting tools. The first people invented the bone awl and soon after that the bone needle. A majority of materials used to make clothes and accessories were made from animal bones, since it was easier accessible. With the creation of new tools, clothes were made to fit people better and supported people during the harsh climate.
Trading became a popular matter within cultures from different religions. It brought about greater and harder to puncture materials and mobile art such as stones, animals, animal parts, seeds, tools, and weapons. With the ability to own so many new materials, people began to create their own shelters using mud, stone, and wood, and would eventually lead to straw-designed roofs.
Cave discoveries and Venus of Willendorf. Before settling in mud homes, people during the Paleolithic period left behind traces of art and tools in caves. Cave paintings displayed animals and even handprints of people. Figurines had also been left behind. One popular was called Venus of Willendorf. The figurine was of a woman without proportion. We are unsure for why she was made. Some people believe she was used for religious rituals or she was a god, and some believe she was used for sexual fantasies. Portable art was also very popular and thought to be toys for kids. It was primarily made of small bones and looked like animals. Neolithic art began to progress once people began to settling down in communities.
Art used to be small enough to carry around in the palm of the hand, and most pieces of art were functional, such as the needle that was made from bone, as well as animal skins weaved together to create protection from the cold. It was only after settlements started to develop that the idea of art became what we know it as today, the application of human creative skill and imagination. That is, according to Webster's dictionary. During the Paleolithic period, when man was still wandering the earth, art did not really exist, and it wasn't as prominent, nor was it the main point of focus. Once mankind stopped traveling and created settlements in more permanent locations, the world of art began to unfold. One of the oldest places Neolithic art was discovered was at Çatalhöyük, which in today's time is right outside of central Turkey. Life flourished here about 9,000 years ago, and over 8,000 people called this place home. Many paintings, sculptures, and plastered skulls were discovered here. Under many of the floors in the homes found at Çatalhöyük were bodies that had been buried, and their skulls were decorated with plaster. Excavators believe it could be part of some sort of burial ritual, religious burial, or cult burial. Skulls found at Çatalhöyük were covered completely in plaster except for the eyes. The eyes were replaced with shells, and there is evidence that the color pigments were used to accentuate their hair and other facial features. We aren't sure if this is a sign of ancestral worship or a form of remembering those that had passed. Either way, it is considered to be one of the oldest forms of art. Looking at the remains of the art pieces tells us that people from the Neolithic era were using art to understand their New World lifestyle. Throughout the walls built in the city, we found drawings of geometric designs, zigzags, people, and even animals that were left to tell us a story. The different kinds of art that were found here at Çatalhöyük help us understand why they were a vital and functional part of everyday lives of the ancient people. Looking back at what has been discovered about the people who lived thousands of years before us, we see the first human innovations come to life. Today, these examples are what we call art. And without art, our earth would just be,